In the jury discussions, we collectively agreed that this project was very unique and brilliant in the way it did many of execution of the design moves. Number one, repurposing a big box grocery store to fulfill a community need was very clever in not only the way they did it, because you couldn't even tell that it was that original use, but the simple use of materials in a very restrained way, really letting the space elevate the real purpose, which is to house the books. And the books are kind of the prime actor, if you will, in the space. The way the lighting and the furniture is kind of a backdrop to that main event is really unique. I love the way that they used biological references to shading and biomimetics in a very simplistic way in the front of the building and the exterior, and how that carried through into the interior with gestures of the similar panel structures in the skylight when you walk into the welcome area. I loved the simplicity of the furniture that was used, very warm and inviting. There are elements such as the fireplace lounge and the wood paneling that really gave you a sense of being in a home away from home. And again, they didn't have a lot of use of very complicated ceiling systems. You could see the exposed ductwork, etc. But there were elements such as these large skylight illuminators that really brought the light in and gave the whole space a sense of airiness and comfort.
So my name's David Schnee. I'm a principal at Group 4 Architecture Research and Planning here in South San Francisco, Go South City. Shout outs to my fellow design principal, Andrea Gifford, our associate and senior designer, Daniel LaRasa. Those guys were in the trenches every day. Sean Zadke, design principal at Gould Evans, and the managing partner of the Kansas City office of Gould Evans, Dennis Strait. All of them a fantastic team. The Indian Creek Library is located in Olathe, Kansas, which is in the county seat of Johnson County, which is in the metropolitan area of Kansas City. So the design concept for this project originates from its basic premise, which is that we are starting with an abandoned supermarket. So something built in the 70s or 80s, cheap big box construction, placeless, poor identity, sea of parking lot in a community that expanded quickly. Is one of the fastest growing communities in the Midwest, and looking to expand its library services is creating a sense of civic place. So what do we do with this big box? But we take this and we strip it down to its core structure, we reinvent it. So we strip the exterior of the building to create a whole new identity with wonderful curtain walls. We also are trying to bring the outdoors in, not just through natural light, but cutting courtyards into the building as well. And so the sea of parking lot there, we want to re-landscape. We want to let it return back to its natural form. So we create a beautiful vegetated promenade. We stop the dominance of car traffic on the site coming straight up to the door. We pull it further away. We let the pedestrian path from the nearby street and from nearby walkways and the Indian Creek, for which this library is named. We reconnect that building to the landscape and let that landscape be pulled into the interior. The diagram of the building starts with this box. And so then we peel away its facades and we create new landscaped corridors that redefine the approach to the building. As we reskin the box, we're happy with concrete block, but we want to create transparency. We used expansive glass and then shielded it with a artistically conceived sunscreen. One of the important design criteria and considerations as we were preparing the design was to create a flexible project. It used to be the librarians being saying shh, and you had to sit in rows of chairs. Now it's a dynamic space, so we acoustically zoned it so that the noisy spaces, a maker space with the machines and things, are enclosed. The next glass box we made, and a little jewel box, was the quiet study room. And so we just have this lovely box, and you can come in from the hustle and bustle of all the activity. You want to just sit back, comfortable chair, read a book, but still you get the view of all the activities around it. So the acoustic zoning was one of our pleasures. The entire collections are all on mobile gondolas. We have more than we put into any other library so that they can flip this building into any sort of function at any time. So we have that type of flexibility. And then we want to think about flexibility over time. And so what will the media be that people are coming to borrow in 10 or 20 years? So we have a raised floor, shallow raised floor for changing the data and power distribution to however the space may need to be. And we have expansion space that we may be able to grow into when the need or opportunity arises. Sustainability was a big consideration in the use of our materials throughout the process. One of them was having a minimum of materials there. So we just let the structure be exposed, painted it dark, took actually duct liner and just had that affixed to the underside of the roof deck to be a very low cost way to get the necessary acoustical treatment. This project really responds to its community context in that it is a meeting place of all the diverse people in the community. They are great library lovers, so people of all different ages, all different walks of life come together and share the same space, attend the same program. Every project has its challenges. This project had reusing an existing building that was not super well built to begin with. We weren't able to reuse quite as much as we had hoped. When we were redoing the roof, we found we had to replace more of it. We had to work within our budget, but all of the constraints, which were numerous, helped lead to this solution. One of Group 4's specialties is being able to really work collaboratively and bring in the voices of lots and lots of people. We had an advisory committee that was made up of community stakeholders from business and communities of faith participated. All of those voices came together, and it was our job to then take that inspiration and give it form, and so it was great.